This is Emperor Monkey D. Luffy's army in the final war of One Piece. The Straw Hats have allies all across the world who would definitely come running to their aid if Luffy needed them. Some of these groups might not be able to help on the battlefield, but they could be useful in terms of political weight, influence, resources, or the services they provide. First and foremost, we of course have the kingdoms that Luffy has saved or liberated. While not all of these could or would be able to supply an army, they can still assist the Straw Hats in any political matters. For example, if there's a meeting of world powers as we move towards the end of the series, or if it comes time for the Straw Hats to actually battle Emu and the world government, these nations can speak up and try to win over other kingdoms and the masses. First, we have the kingdom of Dressrosa and their leaders Riku, Rebecca, Kairos, and Viola, who Luffy saved from Doflamingo. The ability to vouch for Luffy while also being able to say that one of the world government's warlords had usurped their throne is a huge hit to their credibility. Kairos is also known to be a legendary hero, so he's sure to help out on the battlefield too. The same could also be said about Alabasta, which was being dominated by Crocodile and Baroque works. Not to mention the Gorosei and Emu have been framing the revolutionaries for Cobra's death. This is another massive problem for them. When another king hears about this, they'll need to reconsider what's stopping the world rulers from killing them next. And of course, Alabasta gives us back Vivi, who will 100% be playing a vital role in the story due to Emu's connection with Nefertari D. Lily. We also have the Ryugu Kingdom on Fishman Island, as Luffy helped save them from Hody Jones. Not to mention, with Luffy recently becoming Joy Boy, this makes their bond even stronger, as Fishman Island has a very important history with Joy Boy. But the most important thing here is obviously Shirahoshi, the ancient weapon Poseidon. This is just about as powerful as an ally can get, since, you know, she can control the Sea Kings. Like, that's a big deal. Imagine this, right? We have ships full of war supplies and food going straight to the Marine HQ or Mary Joie. But then all of a sudden, boom, dozens of Sea Kings just come in and destroy that entire fleet. Like, the Ryugu Kingdom itself has control over the seas. It can create blockades wherever and whenever. And considering most of One Piece's world map is covered by ocean, I'd say this is a pretty good advantage for Luffy and the Straw Hats. By extension, we could also throw the Sun Pirates into the mix here, with Jinbei on the crew and the Sun Pirates and Luffy now being bros for life, especially considering they left the Big Mom Pirates to help Luffy past. Also, Sumire, it could never hurt to have the literal Kraken on your side, just saying. Next, we have the big one, Wano, an entire island made up of samurais and ninjas who have just been freed from Kaido and Orochi's rule. This includes the Akazaya 9, or the Red Scabbards, who, mind you, are some of the strongest warriors we've seen in the series, all having unique fighting styles and different powers, even made up of some Minks, which put Sulong into the mix too. Mind you, both of the Minks, part of the Akazaya 9, were able to beat Perospero. If we had to gauge them, I'd say they're around Jack's level in strength, which means we have a group that is basically Yonko third in command, ready to help Luffy whenever. This doesn't even include Momo, who has the powers of damn Kaido and can turn into a dragon. Like, yeah, he wasn't the best at using this power during the actual arc itself, but he was able to hold up all of Onigashima, and I'm sure he's been training ever since. But of course, the greatest asset we get from Wano is Yamato. I mean, if she ever decided to leave the island, she'd easily have a 1 billion berry bounty, not just because she's Kaido's child, but also just due to her insane power. I mean, she's pretty much an honorary member of the Straw Hats, and turned the tide against the fight with her dad, fighting him one-on-one for an extended period of time and clashing against Thunder Bogas equally, while also landing in significant hits. God, I totally just butchered a bunch of names again, didn't I? Ugh, I'm so sorry. On top of all that, Wano serves as a massive resource. This is where the poneglyphs were created, which is why Odin was able to help Roger read them. It's likely others in the kingdom would still be able to understand them as well. If not Momonosuke, then at the very least Sukiyaki should be able to. We also have to remember that Kaido's weapon factories are all still here too. And while I know the people of the nation might want to get rid of them, it'll take a long time to completely demolish them. So it might be a good idea to keep them up and running until the end of the final war, just so they can provide the Straw Hat Grand Fleet with a plethora of different weapons and gear and all that good stuff. Then there's the fact that Wano was where Sea Prism Stones come from, a whole supply of materials that could turn off opponents' Devil Fruit skills, which would be immeasurably valuable against people like the Blackbeard crew, the Admirals, or the Gorosei. But most importantly, Wano is where Pluton is currently resting, which, if we add that to Luffy's arsenal too, that gives him a second ancient weapon alongside Poseidon. Tied to Wano, we also have Zoe and the Minks. While not as as powerful on the surface, they do have some fairly strong combatants. Plus, if they timed the battle right, an army of Sulongs could basically win a majority of the fight in an instant. Remember, Inuarashi and Necromashi? Dude, I can't pronounce these names. The cat and dog from the samurais. That's who I'm talking about. They're part of Zou, members of the Yakuzai 9 who I already talked about earlier. Not to mention, we have Carrot, who on top of her electro powers also has access to Sulong. In the past, she even took on basically the entire Big Mom fleet present on Whole Cake Island at that time by herself. The Minks of Zou also act as lore keepers, which could be helpful in deciphering more information about Joy Boy and the Forgotten Century. And come on, we gotta talk about Zunisha, a whole giant-ass elephant. Beyond just his size, he's strong enough to lift up a whole freaking city and move non-stop with that city on top of him for 800 years. That's incredible strength and stamina. And of course, he can destroy an entire fleet of ships with just the swing of his trunk, as we saw him do with Jack. The Kuja pirates and Boa Hancock are also way more than willing to help out. Using her warlord status pretty much gets rid of her only excuse not to. And with her now back to being a full-blown pirate, she has a bounty of 1,659,000,000 berries. On top of that, her entire race is also well known and notorious. They're so busted that the Kuja pirates and Boa were given a warlord position solely because they didn't want to deal with them, being so strong that they've remained independent for centuries. Also, they all have access to hockey, so yeah, they're broken as hell. Then there's the Germa Kingdom, and after the events of Whole Cake, there's definitely an open door for them to reach out and try to help the Straw Hats, or at least Sanji, for saving them from Big Mom, at least while Judge is still in command. On top of the Vinsmoke super soldiers, Germa would bring unbelievably advanced science with them, which could really help the Straw Hats and give them an advantage. Now, with so many members, what are they gonna ride on the sea? Well, fear not, because we have Water 7 on Luffy's army too, including the best shipwrights on the entire planet, Iceberg and his galley law company. The only shipwrights we've ever met on par with Frankie. With the actual Pluton available now, they could even take it apart to supplement other ships, or even upgrade the ancient weapon itself. The Frankie family is also on Water 7, and while they aren't exactly the strongest or smartest, there is something to be said about just having a group of thugs and dismantlers at your disposal. If we look up the Skypiea, the Shendorians could also be brought into the fray to repay their debt for Luffy defeating Enel. Similarly, the Sariyama Alliance from Jaya could help if there are any underwater or scavenging missions. For example, resurfacing Pluton. Okay, but let's be real. The one group that we're all looking forward to seeing join the fleet the most is, of course, the giant warriors of Elbaf. We've seen time and time again how strong these guys are, whether that be in Little Garden, Enies Lobby, or now. Elbaf is home to a ton of warrior giants who are stronger than anyone could imagine. Just look at the two OGs themselves, Dory and Froggy, dual captains of the giant warrior pirates. These guys are so strong they fought against each other constantly for over 100 years. But before that, their crew was really infamous, known to have terrorized the world with their legendary strength. And I mean, these guys are not messing around. Just look at when they came to help Luffy out at Egghead. Oh, we got an enormous marine fleet? Child's play, bro. They didn't even delay these guys, as they just cut through several of the marine battleships. These insane feats have increased the two captains' bounty from just a measly 100 million to a whopping 1.8 billion.